Greetings. Welcome to Wake the Dead. Today we have a swapcast with our good friend Hans Utter of the Resonant State, and we are speaking with our esteemed guest William Ramsey. Thank you so much for all of these. This series has been unfolding and it's been better and better, and it's become something that we didn't expect it to be. And this series is the Manchurian Candidate from Fiction to Fact. This today is part 10. And thank you, William, for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Great to be with you guys.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. And uh, there's a couple things I just want to remind people of. So, mass shooting so far, 2025, 442 mass shootings. I'll just go through just the last few days. Jacksonville, Florida, 11/16/25. Las Cruces, New Mexico, 11/15/25. Newark, New Jersey, 11/15/25. Southgate, California, 11/15/25. Carbondale, Kansas, 11/15/25. 11/9/25. Iowa Falls, Iowa, 11/8/25. San Francisco, California, 11/8/25. San Antonio, 11/7. Wilmington, 11/5. Bronx, 11/2. Los Angeles, 11/2. Washington, D.C., 11/2. Elk Grove, California, 11/2. Cincinnati, Ohio, 11/2. Bath Township, Ohio, 11/2. Chicago, Illinois, 11/1. Tucson, Illinois, Illinois, 11/1. Gretna, Florida, 11/1. Sacramento, California, 11/1. Charlottesville, Virginia, 11/1. New Havens, Connecticut. I'll just stop there. These are all mass shootings. These are not even in the news anymore. Okay. Has anybody heard about any of those? I mean,
Nope.
Bath Township, Cincinnati, that's the list. Anywhere 5 to 15 people, sometimes 3 deaths, 4 deaths, but at least 5 people are killed or injured to make it a mass shooting. So every one of those, and some of them, and so just to say, like, that's a lot in the past 2 weeks, right? And literally, there is no news coverage of that. And I'll just do one last thing here before we hit the document. I just want to read one paragraph of the 1920 story by H.P. Lovecraft, Nyarlathotep. Okay, I'll just read one paragraph of this and think about this 1920. Okay, Nyarlathotep. The crawling chaos. I am the last. I will tell the audience void. I do not recall distinctly when it began, but it was months ago. The general tension was horrible. To a season of political and social upheaval was added a strange and brooding apprehension of hideous physical danger, a danger widespread and all-embracing, such a danger as may be imagined only in the most terrible phantasms of the night. I recall that the people went about with pale and worried faces and whispered warnings and prophecies, which no one dared consciously repeat or acknowledge to himself that he heard. A sense of monstrous guilt was upon the land, and out of the abysses between the stars swept chill currents that made men shiver in dark and lonely places. There was a demoniac alteration in the sequence of the seasons. The autumn heat lingered fearsomely, and everyone felt that the world and perhaps the universe had passed from the control of known gods or forces to that of gods or forces which were unknown. Okay, that's it. Okay.
But he captures the kind of psychosphere of like our present day, these like dark forces and weird things that are popping into everything. The background of just mass shootings and stuff. Weird things, so like weird amnesia, forced amnesia. I mean, you could look at the TV as almost an amnesia box. Like, forget that story. Jeffrey Epstein's not important, right? All that's These, by the way, the Epstein drops are really incredible. The ones they put out, like literal stuff about rape and stuff like that. Trump. Have you guys seen those
I've heard about
those
it.
emails yet? Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, there was one thing. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, but there's someone who was at one of Trump's parties, and he had at one of the mansions, and he had rooms, and he was afraid to talk about what was going on. Basically implying ritual stuff, underage girls, sex, anything you wanted, right? In
Right, the
all,
Diddy party, right?
P. Diddy stuff, right?
yeah, P did his stuff, but with like 50 different rooms, like all different layers. But this guy who was like, in the whatever sports boxing world, probably tough guy, right? He would not talk in detail. Like he said, I'm not going to say anymore. I'm just not into that. Drugs, 15, 12-year girls, whatever. But there's stuff beyond that.
I'm
So
not surprised. They've got to have something really bad on this guy to let him in there. Like, I mean, it's incredible. This is from 2017, right? Epstein's dead in 2019. He's still around. A lot of these emails, he's like involved in the early first Trump administration. They lied about everything. And this is one that it's Jeffrey to Paul Krasner, who's like involved in the 60s. And I think even like, was the Steam Shovel Press or something like that? I don't know.
I've met him. I know Paul Krasner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul Krasner, the allegation was not at a pedophile party. It was at my house with me. To what wording would you suggest I change that? Please note. And then Epstein sends back to Krasner. I was pointing out that the alleged rape was reported to be at my house with Donald and I raping her. I mean, it couldn't be more clear than that.
Wow, dude. Wow.
That's the alleged rape, right? He says alleged. But
Well,
it's still in writing.
This is a Democrat psyop. I don't know what you're trying to do here.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible stuff.
I'm sorry to make a joke, but really, it's
Well, you kind of have to laugh it off.
Right.
But if we get this new, like the H.P. Lovecraft thing, it's a very interesting story, right? Because basically this guy comes from Egypt and has all these weird technologies and sources and basically warps space and time. It's a short story, but that opening thing, right? I mean, literally, like the prophets, those the people went about with pale, worried faces and whispered warnings and prophecy that no one dared to consciously repeat or acknowledge to himself. That's what we are in, right? We are in. I went to the grocery store today, like major supermarket, and for whatever reason, I just caught that literally. This is their sensory overload, right? All the signs, everything else. People are in a complete trance, most of them, literally. And if you step out of it, suddenly the security guard is following you because he's awake, right? Seriously, like he's there constantly watching. I mean, literally, I'm like, this is really, really, really weird. Nobody's actually here. But I'm saying people are in robotic trance modes. You have sensory overload, continuous hypnotic induction, and then do this, do that. Anyways, it's intense. So hopefully, well, you know what? We're going to fight through this, man. Right? We got the power.
There's supposedly an email between Epstein and his brother Mark where they say Putin has a picture of Trump blowing Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I've heard that also.
I don't know if it's real or not. Like, I mean, I don't know if they're using it as a euphemism or symbolic. Really did it. Did he really do it?
Have you seen the picture of them at a party? It looks like Trump has his hand on Bubba's crotch. And he's wearing the hat. So, man.
Pictures of him together with Bubba and a girl and all this stuff. So we know they're together. But like, are they really? I mean, it's so dark, man. Like Trump is not going to get away from this. This is just the beginning. They haven't voted on all the other Epstein releases. There's incredible stuff in there, guys, that comes up to today. There's things where Epstein is like, there are hearings in Congress where he's texting one of the congresspersons and telling her what to say because he knows who the people are. Like he's literally manipulating a congressional hearing. Epstein is.
I mean, it's probably
during the Trump administration.
Right.
I mean, it's probably always been that, but you literally can see this woman from the Caribbean where Epstein is, like texting Epstein in real time and getting information and asking questions. It's off
Is
the charts.
was that the case that was dropped? There was
I
this
can't remember.
one dogged lady going after in Florida, and she got like fired or something. I forget how that went down, but
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's literally confirmations from the 2005 things that Epstein had a full-on micro penis. Like the dude, like they literally had a testimony of this girl, and she's like literally like, yeah,
egg
we were
shape.
together. No, it didn't say egg shapes. He said he had a micro dick. He had
Yeah,
a teeny tiny. Where is this stuff? Like that's confirmed.
yeah, and I watched a video the other day about the Epstein death list, the people that are dying on the witnesses and
Right.
cops that were
Yeah,
investigating.
yeah,
All of a sudden,
yeah.
they're dropping. Yeah.
When he got off this is during they've redacted this. So gross. Okay. Hairy butt line going down to his butt. Got off, he went and whacked off, and then he came back in. He's very hairy and chest area, and I just looked for 1 second. It's very, very disgusting. That's all I have to say about that. Do you know what it means to have only? Because there's some people that don't be. I don't know, but I think he was on steroids because he was a built guy and his weenie was very tiny. His wee wee was very tiny. Yes. And when you mean wee wee, what do you mean? What? His penis? Yes, his penis. Okay. Yes, his penis. People call it different things. All right. I just wanted to make sure we did. Okay. He laid down and took off his towel. He laid down. Okay. So he had a micro dick.
Well, hopefully it didn't hurt all the women that he was raping.
I doubt it. Yeah, I mean,
anyway. Oh my God. So that's okay. So Epstein, but like but this is all connected because whether he's got a micro penis or not, he's traumatizing young women for political power, and it's same connected to the same,
Mystery Babylon or something like. Just
yeah.
really
Is that that doesn't?
No, that was the people from the concert. Remember that?
That's
I don't play
Coldplay or whatever. Coldplay.
They get caught.
Is that that's not a real picture?
No, it's not. It's totally
but it is.
It is.
No, but the one with him with the golden jock strap with Roy Cohn. Have you seen that one?
Oh, no.
Where he's at a party on a yacht. It's a real picture, and he's dressed like this Roman. He's got like a Roman thing on. Then he has like this cod piece. He is like a cod, and he's with Roy Cohn, man, on a yacht. That's Trump, like when he's young. It's.
Yeah, they were asking Trump, "Do you even stretch, bro?" Like stretch.
Stretch in what way? What do you mean?
Well, no. Remember the last show we were talking about that him movie, and it's like all the gay stuff.
Right.
Making fun of it.
Well, I mean, what if Trump is fully bi, man? That would be freaking crazy.
Probably. I mean, they don't see gender. I mean, for one, they got all that's tranny stuff, but they just want domination over something smaller than them. Like a dog, a corpse, like whatever. The
mind.
It's not
frame
really a joke. It's not funny.
The mind frame is just really crazy.
Right.
Epstein knew a lot about Palantir, and he knew a lot about Teal too, and they're in his emails. Like, it's really strange, especially now that Palantir is like one of the most highly valued companies of all time, and Trump helped make it that way, which is not in the kind of public record that Trump is involved in like juicing these stock things because it's government money,
right? And the coin, like those digital coins that are invented and then like juiced up.
I lost my fortune because of that coin.
Really sorry.
Trump coin.
Start your own, man. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it's like it's all just a grift. Like, it's all a con. If they can make you believe it, and just like this stuff, like they, if they can traumatize us with 9/11 and with mass shootings, even though they don't talk about the mass shootings anymore, they only talk about the school shootings when they're killing children, But if they can traumatize us enough, then we'll be scared enough to believe the government is a good idea, and we need to protect ourselves from the psychopaths. And let's hire some psychopaths to protect ourselves from, so it's all like, what do you believe? How you know, like that's the only way any of these people are controlled. And when you like break Grok's legs and then you give him scopolamine and then you put him under
Yeah.
hypnosis, like they're gonna believe pretty much whatever, you know.
Well, and this is as you unwind these things, like I said, I was in the grocery store today, whatever reason, supermarket, but just noticing total sensory overload, right? You go to sign, this, rows, they change the directions. So, lighting, all this stuff is actually affecting your nervous system, right? You're getting an overload of your senses. So most people, you walk in there, I'm going to the store, I'm going to buy this, I'm going here. But of course you can't find it. They moved all the stuff. Where's this? Oh, I was actually asking random people, hey, baby, where's the yogurt? I didn't say baby, but I only got 2 slaps. But
Like, 6 feet, where's your mask?
But I'm saying that like we are in a sensory, just on a basic nervous system operational level, right? We are getting sensory overload. We're getting information overload, right? But at the same time, that's why the Nyarlathotep, that story of Lovecraft, came in my mind, because it's a 2-page story, man, but it's so deep, right? A lot of his stuff, it's almost like, okay, not, from his dreams, but, okay, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read this one other paragraph from that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. But just think about this as we are in the United States. So, okay. I remember when Nyarlathotep came to my city, the great old terrible city of unnumbered crimes. My friend had told me of him and of the impelling fascination and allurement of his revelations, and I burned with eagerness to explore his uttermost mysteries. My friends said they were horrible and impressive beyond my most fevered imaginings, that what was thrown on a screen in the darkened room prophesied things none but Nyarlathotep dared prophesy. And in the sputter of his sparks, there was taken from men that which had never been taken before, yet which showed only in the eyes. Okay, I'll skip ahead. And I saw hooded forms among ruins and yellow evil faces peering from behind fallen monuments. And I saw the world battling against blackness, against the waves of destruction from ultimate space, whirling, churning, struggling around the dimming, cooling sun. Then the sparks played amazingly around the heads of the spectators, and hair stood up on end while shadows more grotesque than I can tell came and squatted on the heads. And when I, who was colder and more scientific than the rest, mumbled a trembling protest about imposture and static electricity, Nyarlathotep drove us out. So it goes from there. But we have the extraction, the sparks, right? Kilophot, Kabbalistic, the blackened screen. I don't know. I'll leave it there. But
Right, and the demons that land on the host humans, that are the psychopaths doing the ritual, right? Like that. We've heard about that many times. Anyway, okay,
Let's get into the document.
We
We
have a
did this
document.
general outline of problems of hypnosis by Dr. Reifenstein. Sounds very similar to the Castle. Isn't that the Castle Reifenstein, the video game?
Right.
But yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, there's a lot of academic stuff on this, but this goes all the way to the top. It's coffee again. I think he's sending this. This is the old document that went to, it was a memorandum from Nathan, 1937. This is interesting because they're acknowledging these problems. They, if you remember one of our earlier ones, they said the problem surmounting hypnosis would take 2 decades to figure out, right? They needed more resources. So they knew they had problems, and this is how they go into this. These are the problems. I'll read them. 1, the induction of hypnosis. To study all possible methods of augmenting the induction of hypnosis and to determine the best and most practical of these. So all methods of augmenting. So we went through the whole Ericksonian, Alice in Wonderland style of hypnosis.
Induction also implies drugs, right? Anything. Drugs, lights, scent, whatever it could be.
Alteration of mental performance stimulation to study all possible methods by which mental performance on any type of test may be made more efficient and to determine the best and most practical of these. Practical. So this is powerization. How can we hypnotize people, make them super soldiers or whatever? Stimulation of memory to study all possible methods by which memory of the past and of the future can be stimulated to be more complete, more lasting, and more readily reproduced, and to determine the best and most practical. B, the production of cooperation to study all possible methods by which a person resistant for any reason can be made more cooperative, more pliable, right? A good robot. Determine the best and most things. Inhibition to study all possible methods which mental performance on any type of test may be made less efficient, and then to determine the best and most practical of these. Production of resistance, how to be resistant, special problem, to study all.
Oh, you went robot. Your connection got messed up, William.
William, you're frozen.
Yeah.
StreamYard just blinked out.
You look like Jeffrey Epstein there for a second. Sorry.
That's not good. I don't want to be anywhere close to Epstein.
The criteria. Bad joke. Bad joke.
The criteria of state and depth of hypnosis to establish criteria to determine the state and depth of hypnosis in any individual. Refining of hypnotic technique to study all methods of refining the ordinary technique of hypnosis. Criteria of hypnotizability to establish criteria to determine the hypnotizability. So this is like an outline that's going to the FBI. I think Nathan was like second in control. It's really crazy. And then we get to drugs. Well, not get some idea of the methods which Dr. Riefenstein intends to approach this problem and the ramifications he is finding in the problem itself. However, it is Mr. Tam's belief that Dr. Riefenstein would produce some very fine work and could arrive at some very definite conclusions quickly if he were pushed to the point where he could try experiments using drugs on his patients in the hospital and definitely determine some of the points which the Bureau is anxious to know. So they're also still anxious to know, but they also want to keep their distance from all this stuff. His interest in the problem of hypnosis is strictly limited to the increase in the person's capability while in a hypnotic state, and as such would work along with Dr. Riefenstein if permitted to carry out his mental tests on persons treated by hypnosis. Experiments with drugs pushed to the full extent so that a definite conclusion can be rapidly drawn from this connection. So they're going to ramp it all up. Mr. Tam was informed Captain Welch makes use of the type of hypnotic technique known as the eye fixation method, in which he stares a person into somnambulism. So he just stares at somebody. This, of course, is not always a successful method due to the fact that the person doing the hypnosis is injecting his own personality into the experiment, and in such a case may irritate the person who is being hypnotized. Dr. Esterbrook had a couple of subjects whom he conditioned into a state of hypnosis at the CCP or CCC camp, so conditioned that when Dr. Esterbrook lit a cigarette, the two subjects dropped into a very deep state of somnambulism, during which time they were neither conscious of the fact that they had been hypnotized, nor upon awakening were not conscious that they had been asleep. Incredible. All he had to do was light a cigarette. So they had been conditioned to that fact. So they can do that. It's crazy.
And depending on the hypnotizability or whatever the word was, somebody can be put in that state in moments if they, if
they've been conditioned already through hypnosis, right? So they can pop back into that state if they're the right subject. Right. And you'll see this. I mean, that's what's really scary is like Hans is talking about all these shooters and stuff. Like, how many of these people were conditioned or preconditioned? We don't know. But if they're the right subject.
Ultimately, that's what the Black Awakening is. They're preconditioned to do whatever they were programmed to do. That whole thread that we were talking about before with Russ Dizdar. That it's preconditioned hypnosis, triggers and all that stuff.
But what we see in this document that's really fascinating is the Civilian Conservation Corps. They talk about Captain S.J. Welch, who is in charge of this Civilian Conservation Corps camp and is also an amateur hypnotist. So they're experimenting on these people,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And just real quick, I mean, go through some of these things. Augmenting induction and what is the best? Okay, so augmented. They know how to induce it. They want to augment it. They want to supercharge it. They want to have a program. You light a cigarette, you hear a single tone, hypnotized, right? So they want to make it more powerful. Alteration of mental performance. So okay, you make a super soldier, you also make a super retard, right? They want to also be able to diminish mental performance, right? Inhibition of mental performance, and then simulation of memory. Okay, but then the production of cooperation, resistant for any means. So this, there's no, when they say drugs to the full extent, it means you're up to the death of the test subject. I mean, there's, it's not like this is like, the Teletubbies. These guys are pretty hardcore.
Really hardcore. Like they were talking about it. We talked about that or read through that in our last one of our last shows. Like they literally overdose these people. Crazy
Right.
stuff.
Which was
Unbelievable.
previously thought fatal.
Right.
That was the words. Yeah.
Several experiments using post-hypnotic suggestion in which the person was placed into a hypnotic state. Then certain suggestions were made, the person brought out of the hypnotic state, and they would follow the suggestions as they had been outlined while the person was asleep. So post-hypnotic suggestion. They're doing this right now, 1937.
So tying that back to Manchurian Candidate, that's what the Queen of Diamonds was. He was playing the cards, and then the guy says, "Go jump in the water," and the guy's like, "Oh," he follows the instructions because he's triggered by the so
The
that right
symbol.
there is a perfect example in that movie and in the book. So
Exactly. Dr. Shankwaller gave a demonstration for Mr. Tam using 3 college students as hypnotic subjects. Dr. Shankwaller demonstrated the technique he uses, which is exactly the same technique as that used by Dr. Esterbrooks. However, the students upon which Dr. Shankwaller demonstrated, students of which he claimed to have previously placed in a hypnotic state, were not placed in a hypnotic state during the demonstration conducted for Mr. Tam. One of the 3 subjects was placed in a semi-state of somnambulism, but this was not such a state that he could not remember what was going on or what questions were asked of him. Dr. Shankwaller impressed Mr. Tam as being extremely capable sort of fellow with a definite interest in the research work in which Dr. Esterbrooks is conducting in the field of hypnosis. Dr. Esterbrooks demonstrated various hypnotic experiments conducted on persons he had previously hypnotized and it had acclimated to such a condition that they would go to sleep upon the lighting of a cigarette. He also showed Mr. Tam using 10 college students how he would go about picking subjects for hypnotic research from a group such as that. It is noted for record purposes that in this type of research, use is made of the so-called waking suggestions, the suggestions given to the subjects that they close their eyes, then upon the giving of several suggestions, it is shown they cannot open their eyes. In the group of 10 with which Dr. Esterbrooks was working, he successfully had 3 of them who could not open their eyes when he said that they could not. He also made use of the stiffening of the arm. You'll see this in other hypnotists. The stiffening of the arm and the stiffening of the body, suggesting to the person that they could not relax. And this was also true in the 3 cases in which the eye closing technique was used. Mr. Tam also observed Dr. Esterbrooks in a test at the Young Men YMCA in Utica, New York, in which Dr. Esterbrooks make use of a galvanometer under the explanation or guise that he is experimenting with the curve of relaxation as shown on the galvanometer. So he's under the guise. Dr. Esterbrooks has found at least one good hypnotic subject, a boy of 15 years of age, who he successfully hypnotizes and puts through several tests without the boy realizing the fact that he is in a hypnotic state. This is also true of the YMCA authorities, who do not know that Dr. Esterbrooks is practicing hypnosis under their noses, but think he is studying psychological reflexes as shown as on the galvanometer. Now apply that to Scientology, right? Their little e-meter thing is the same thing.
Good point.
They think that they're studying psychological reflexes when in fact they're trying to find if this person's hypnotic, like they can hypnotize this person.
But also, I mean, what you see here is absolute I mean, many different instances, right, where they're creating a guise, right? Doctor is there, so the patient becomes relaxed, right? They're literally using cover subterfuge, right?
Right.
Even at CCC, the psychopathic hospital, they're you're going for a checkup, right? They're inserting people. I'm going to see the doctor because I have a broken leg, but he's going to experiment in hypnosis on you, right? So, and it's done. They said the authorities did not know. So this is quite, and again, 1937, man, one gesture and you're in a hypnotic trance. And just to jump ahead real quick, you have the important experiments like, group conformity, right? The Ashler experiment,
Ash, yeah.
and then you also have, various other things.
Milgram.
Milgram. So when you generate what they found with these experiments, that if you get a certain number of the crowd agreeing with something, right, people will go against their better judgment. So if you look at the number that are hypnotic subjects, in a sense, they can also, by induction, crowd, group dynamics, put that hypnotic trance out.
The possibilities are endless. These are mad scientists, man. But you're right. Imagine if you could get hypnotic subjects to just say whatever you want, and then you have a Ash experiment operating in real time, and everybody thinks this guy is like totally up and up, but he's in a hypnotic state saying the moon is made of cheese or what, I don't know, something more credible. Like Bill Clinton is the most honest, sanest, most wonderful person who've ever lived. Oh well, everybody thinks that. I might as well think that, right?
If you read Bryce Taylor, the book there, Thanks for the Memories, she talks about how she was given programming to tell other monarch victims who were like famous. One of them was, and give them, like in a sexual encounter, give them the programming while they are under, and then that transmits the message to them, and then they write a song with those words in the song. And it's Neil Diamond, Barbara Streisand were two of them. Like she had an ongoing relationship with Barbara Streisand, like, and Neil Diamond, the guy's name is Diamond. Like, anyway, so like they would, and then that song would be played on the radio for all the program multiples that are listening on the radio, and it triggers all them like all the time. And it's like, like they play the oldies all the time. It's the same song because it's the programming, Anyway, it's
and that weird,
the
like
levels
witchy.
are.
What did Michael Hoffman call it? He called it liminal language, or what? What do you?
Twilight language.
Twilight language. That's right.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's the point though is that if you look at go back to Gustav Le Bon, the crowd, right, and you look at group dynamics. So when you have, the mass formation, right, you have the crowd being created, the collective IQ drops like 20, 30 points, right? But you don't, I mean, we looked at like Trump derangement syndrome or whatever. Say you have 100 people that are hypnotized subjects, then you get 1 million people copying them. They are imitating this hypnotic trance state, and they're in a sense, it's a collective, it's a basic human mechanism, right? You're part of the tribe, you want to blend in with the tribe so you don't get thrown out in the wilderness. It's, goes down you're looking at basal brain operation. Right. So even people that are resistant to hypnosis, the trance can be perpetrated. I mean, we're extrapolating from this data, but I think that's, does that make sense, right? If you look at that, yes. you get 10 people like a song, right? You have direct monarch implanted people, but that's also affecting a huge base array.
Right, normal people too, right?
Yes, and then the normal people, especially like, Trump derangement syndrome as an example, this looks normal if you're in a certain viewpoint and you're going to imitate the behavior.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Look at the George Floyd thing and all these big cities all popping up everywhere. They're all rioting and, burning down their own stores and their own neighborhoods. It's like, what are they doing? But they see it on TV and they're like, yeah, they go out there.
It's incredible. What if all this, like they had talked about mass formation or whatever, what with Matthias Desmet or whatever? Like,
Right.
what if this formation is created through hypnosis or some kind of hypnotizing thing? Because you talk to these people and they're like, Trump is a criminal. What crime has he done? I don't know. Like sometimes they don't even have a rational thing. Like he was convicted of supposedly raping that strange girl who was friends with Hunter S. Thompson like 40 or 50 years ago. But that's just kind of
That's a
joke.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, that's another one. But I mean, I think you guys are right. There's something strange going on. But
Completely.
I mean, you got to think that these guys are thinking these things in 37 or 35. Like how far
Right.
up? And I mean, who was I listening to recently? There's like a behavioral scientist who's like Spiegelman or something like that, who all these politicians like. And I think that he is taking these kind of techniques and they're politicizing. They're operational. They're currently operational.
Right.
So like we don't see it because like this is something we see that was classified from. These are all stamped documents, classification documents. So imagine what they're doing today or what they did in 9/11 or COVID and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why you see all those guys creating a mass formation, safe and effective. You know, people all got that email, 1,000 people. These are our talking points.
Right.
Just go on there, say safe and effective over and over again.
You're with us or you're with the
You're
terror.
going to kill grandma.
You know, and I saw this this quote here about Michael Fine, an Ohio divorce attorney. Turns out Ohio is the epicenter of the universe because I have the
You guys
world's
are-
I have the
you
most
guys are both in
popular
Ohio.
podcast. I'm up to I hit triple digits on YouTube. I hit triple digits.
Didn't take long.
I've earned $5.25.
Hey.
Yeah,
You
but
can get a half a cup of coffee.
yeah, almost not even that, dude.
A third of a pack of
Friggin-
cigarettes.
food inflation is crazy, but very important vector. So this guy
should love the
mentioned
government.
this Ohio attorney, right? How much of the yoga, mindfulness, self-help, this and that is actually types of hypnotic induction, which is separate, right? You go, oh, mindfulness training, mindfulness meditation. Well, you're doing, and you're being put into a friggin' hypnotic trance. How much of this stuff? I mean, okay, this is embarrassing. I'll admit it here now on air. I did the Tony Robbins personal power course about 20 years ago. And he has this thing every morning. You're supposed to do the power walk, and so you touch so you walk. Okay, and so he said this pre thing, but you're supposed to walk and you touch each one of your finger points, left, right. You go every day and every way. I'm feeling better and better. Yes, every day and every way. I'm feeling more and more successful. Yes, and whatever. And you have him in your head. Say it out loud. Say it louder. People look at you like they think they're crazy. You say, no, I'm successful. And you're doing this like robot walk, listening to Tony Robbins with, how he talks. All right, you could feel it, yeah. And what is that? I want to say, what the F is that? How much of this self-help stuff is hypnotic induction, just like he's doing, I'm testing the galvanometer. Scientology, how much of this is completely hidden hypnotic induction techniques?
Right. And don't they say, don't you want a personality test? Oh, come on in. We're going to help your psychology here. Come on in and take a free test, right?
They're just sifting through personalities. That's like one of the elements of Scientology. It has to be seen that, and have this two-faced deception goes back to Estabrooks. I'll repeat the same question. This is also true of the YMCA authorities who do not know that Dr. Estabrooks is practicing hypnosis under their noses, but think he's studying psychological reflexes as shown on the galvanometer. So, guys, you got to be careful out there. Who has been taught hypnotic technique by Estabrooks is at the present time experimenting with him in his work. He's been as successful in one case in which a boy has built up a defense mechanism to protect him from working, in which the boy states he loses use of his vocal cords. Dr. Newton has successfully cured this boy of this defense mechanism by a hypnotic suggestion that has worked very well in this particular case. In connection with this research as being done by Dr. Estabrooks, it's noted that Mr. Tam, this is the head of the special division at the FBI, Tam is, he will carry on intense research if he is kept on the track on which the Bureau is interested. However, Mr. Tam observed that Dr. Estabrooks is extremely lazy Consequently, it is rather difficult to keep him working on the subject. In addition to this, he has a habit of rambling and wandering off the chosen path into something that has no particular connection. Dr. Estabrooks, of course, is extremely enthusiastic about this work, but it's difficult to keep him on the exact line in which the endeavor should be carried on. During the course of conversation with Mr. Tam, Dr. Estabrooks advanced the possibility that he get into a hospital for a couple of weeks during the coming summer, at which time he could work under the guise of a simple psychologist doing research work, and in this guise or disguise, find hypnotic subjects and definitely ascertain how much of a disguise technique could be used in working with hospital patients, especially in an army hospital. And then, like, you see
Wow.
Program to Kill, and like they're all going through the army or military hospitals or something
Right.
weird.
Dahmer and that other one, Kemper, and like they went to
Heidnik,
the same
Program to
hospital.
Kill,
Yeah, in
yeah.
Germany, right? The same one.
And
Yeah.
like there's other people like they're going into military facilities. I think what's the girl's name? I can't remember, but like some of these Annika Lucas said she went to like a
Oh, right.
hospital in Germany, like
Yeah.
where they tried to zap her. Like the
Carrie
stories.
Elahe. I mean, my friend Carrie Elahe was brought to military. She was they hung lights and they made a structure in her mind. They showed her in an open air hangar. They walked her out like up above like 50 feet in the air, out on a plank, like into this space where there's all these lights, and they programmed this is your internal structure, and they showed her so that she could see it, and like it programmed in at the military base.
Wow.
Like it's that's just one of many stories. It's in very yeah, the military is what's doing it.
All right, listen. In this connection, Dr. Estabrooks is rather sold on the subject that the War Department intelligence unit could make great use of hypnosis. In this connection, it is also noted that during the war, Dr. Estabrooks informs Mr. Tam he suggested to the British intelligence unit they make use of hypnosis. So he's trying to spread it like a Johnny Appleseed of hypnosis. Dr. Estabrooks explains the fact that they did not use it due to the circumstances, which were that he was not as well versed in the science of hypnosis as he has at the present time. Estabrooks was in World War One. He claims now that if he reached them with such a suggestion, he could probably get their attention. Dr. Tam believes that Dr. Estabrooks is somewhat thrilled at the fact that he's working with the so-called G-men, and is extremely difficult to keep him from wanting to broadcast the fact here, there, and everywhere. However, he can be made to and willingly do good research work if contact is kept with him constantly. In view of Mr. Tam's trip, it is his opinion that the most satisfactory results which are to be obtained in this research will probably come from the work of Dr. Riefenstein due to the analytical quality of his mind, the fact that he can follow a straight line in his research, and due to the enthusiasm in which he goes into his research problems.
Well, and just to sort of extrapolate from this just a little bit, but you have, again, unwitting research subjects injecting someone in a role that is doing this within an organization or a structure, right? Police department. You have FBI training sessions. What if they're schooled in hypnotic induction techniques and they get one or two key people in that police station, and then you get your cover up?
Right.
You know what I mean?
You don't even have to pay them. You can just hypnotize them.
Yeah, and especially in a position of authority. So, I mean, this is very clearly stated that they're infiltrating organizations under different guises. You know what I mean? It's not even direct chain of command, right? It's, oh, here's this, affable, goofy George Estabrooks, he's got his little vial of cocaine. He's like, Freud told me to do it.
Yeah,
and he's like, but there I mean, seriously, like there's no limitation if you don't really have to lead that far between the lines, because in official documents, these are pretty strong words, right? Under the noses. This is official document, official government communication. It's not a text message.
And if, like I talked about it before, my friend Mark Passio talks about when he was in the organization of LaVeyan Satanism, they had people in places in all strata of society. I mean, he would go to these mastermind rituals, and he would see Alan Greenspan, and he would see like the people from the PTA, and they'd be wearing the robes, and they'd all be doing together, you know. And so like Satanism also has infiltrated, you know, and LaVeyan Satanism is just the low hanging fruit of the higher orders of Satanism. You know, there's more above, and those people do dabble with satanic ritual abuse, trauma based mind control. That's how they keep their power, hold it, you know. So, like, it's all one big thing, you know. The Satanists, in quotes, is like many factions of, you know, it's an ideology of it's like a weird Gnosticism that's like, you know, Ayn Rand and like self-love and, you know, hatred of the world. It's a weird mix. It's a very weird psychology, but it's disseminated all over the world, and it's been for ages, you know, and it has fruited out into all these different orders of weirdos that have like been trying, they're psychopaths trying to gain power, and they've been doing, you know, for generations. So they just wanted to say they are in all these levels, and they do run the military and the police, and, you know, so there's that. You don't even need to hypnotize them. They go willingly to the ritual. Anyway.
Right, but it's like seeded out. There's so many of these people using these induction techniques. It all goes back to Esther Brooks and these guys, and then on these cults and groups and Harwich, and you just like, whoa, that guy's using freaking hypnosis, and David
Right.
Ferry's using it, and JFK.
Harley
Garrison's using
Pasternak,
hypnosis.
probably. I mean,
probably Pasternak.
probably he's into the
like
drug thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
If he's into drugging and controlling people, he
Yes.
probably knows hypnosis. He knows
Exactly.
something.
but also, I mean, you know, whether people believe or not, I mean, you know, and I'm not gonna go as hardcore as Dizdar, right? Dizdar is like hardcore, man. So I'm not gonna go that front.
He's a hero,
we
man.
could do a whole nother show on Dizdar.
But
He's a real hero.
the thing is that the hypnotic state is abulia. Abulia means loss of will, right? Apathy, loss of will. This is the one of the primary, besides like, you know, extreme degradation or, you know, tremendous vices, negative energies, is one of the main vectors for inserting entities for control. And possession does not mean necessarily you're like Rosemary's Baby. You have an entity attached and you can have these larger forces can control, you can have entire geographic regions with many, many people under the influence. And even influence can be very powerful, but the hypnotic, even within the SRA stuff, again, you know, you have certain fragments of that personality that are encoded, right? And so, but this, in a sense, the hypnotism is a state of possession. You're being possessed by Esther Brooks or Tam or whoever the heck is doing the process, right?
Yes.
And it has infiltrated, and whether or not, you know, if little bit of extrapolation will, you know, hopefully not get too far afield. If you look at Zabbatean you know, Zabbatianism, right? Zabbatai Zui, 1666, declared the Messiah, redemption through sin, going to his reincarnation. People aren't familiar with this. Zabbatai Zui was, you know, declared the Messiah by Nathan of Gaza. I may have mentioned this before, but it's redemption through debauchery, incest, murder, ritual orgies, and you're going to bring back its very advanced Kabbalistic technique. It's inversionary. It's really using the Khilafat technique. By sinning, you're going to bring the divine realm, which became Frankism, right? Jakob Frank, funded by Rothschild, which is directly the actual Illuminati, came directly out of Sabbatianism, okay, with the expressed aims of exactly what we're looking at. So, and I do know that there's a lot of people coming out with stuff that are basically fake, especially like, oh, I was a member of the Illuminati. You know, whether that exists or not is not that essential, in that not only these techniques are becoming scientified, but you can look at a much wider interconnection.
That's, yeah. That is, it's really a lot to think about. I mean,
Do you
the
know?
idea that
Yeah,
go ahead.
do
Go ahead.
you know that Scientology teaches that at like the OT level, OT7 level, they like bring out some black briefcase and tell you that you're possessed by entities, and that
Wait,
you have to do the galvanometer or e-meter
Holy, are you
things over and
kidding?
over to get
that makes
no, dude.
sense.
This is like leaning into
It's just like SRA.
yeah, guys, we're laying the background of Scientology. This is the thing is that I bet 99 out of 100 Scientologists who go through there, they don't understand the psychological background of all this stuff. They don't know what they got into. They were under the guise, right? So literally, you're seeing that same dynamic that Estrabix is using against unwitting people at the YMCA. The same type of thing is happening to unwitting people thinking they're at a self-help group. That Scientology is a
Right.
self-help, self-actualization, become a star or whatever. They don't
Become
know
an
that behind it
actor.
is this stuff.
Man.
And
The
there,
acting.
and then the other thing is like you said, Sean, it becomes self-perpetuating. So it's
Mhm.
almost like a virus. So that the next guy who gets in, it's almost like a multi-level marketing scheme where the next guy has no idea because he's been scammed too. So,
Right.
and what if they're under? That's why when people talk to guys in Scientology, it's been weird they are is because they might have different like personalities or something. Like I
Right.
don't know, it might be that dark.
A lot of them, a lot of the, it's weird. Like seeing some of the Nexium right there in the
Right,
comments.
Nexium,
I was
all
just
these
saying, I was
things.
thinking that we were talking about that before that we hit play.
NLP, Robbins,
Yeah.
the background, just all these
And
characters.
they were joining the club to like better themselves, and it was a self-help group, and same thing. Like
How many of
anyway,
those people like how much do you have to pay to go through all of Robin's stuff? Like I
or
don't think you
Scientology, they take 60%, don't they?
they'll take as much money as you give them.
Yes.
They take everything. They'll take your soul. I mean, that's what his son said. Scientology was black magic drawn over a long period of time, and it amounted to this is Nibs or L. Ron Hubbard Jr. said it amounted to the rape of the soul.
And he did.
And that ties all the way back. And I mentioned this before. It
Look at
ties back into
Miscavige.
the end of Manchurian Candidate, right? Where he said, "I didn't give you to be raped, your soul over, or whatever."
Wow.
That's what the Roy Cohn character says to her son. Yeah, crazy.
Well, but also, I mean, L. Ron Hubbard, he did the soul crushing, right? They had rituals, I mean, where they would, do to a female, or whatever. So, I mean, and so, but I mean, this is the model, right? It's like wherever you go, right? It's like a video. I don't really play video games. In fact, I haven't played a video game since like, what Space Invaders. I'm old, right? I'm having my birthday
The
coming.
good old
But,
days.
yeah. But I mean, you ever look at video games, modern video games, like what are these inducing?
Total mind control.
So the level of this transduction, and then you try to make yourself better, and you join one of these organizations. You go to your local YMCA and take a mindfulness class. How do you know the instructor isn't? It's very easy to plant people. I mean, and that's, not to make people paranoid.
Okay, maybe. I'll still be paranoid after listening to you. Sure, man.
But no, I mean, it's that, and it doesn't, again, if you look at crowd dynamics, group dynamics, you get a group of people, you get 100 people, you get 10, 15 people in a football crowd that start screaming, you'll get the whole crowd to do it. I mean, there's a percentage, right, where you get that people shift into the mass mode, right? Which is a group conformity, which is in a sense hypnosis for the 4 out of 5 people, right? So if you get the 5 out of 5, you get so it seems like a pretty dynamic model, man. If you want to control the world, hell.
Like, what about the wave? You know how they do that at a sports game? Like, oh, the wave's coming, everybody's standing up, and like everybody stands up for some reason. Why do they do that? Like, they have to participate. It's just because everybody's doing it. It's a perfect example.
This is from my book, Children of the Beast. Former Scientologist and critic Jerry Armstrong called Hubbard a mixture of Adolf Hitler, Charlie Chaplin, and Baron Munchausen. And I've interviewed Jerry Armstrong. You can listen to him on my podcast. L. Ron Hubbard Jr., son of the founder and former insider of the church, explains the organization, quote, Scientology and all the other cults are one-dimensional, and we live in a three-dimensional world. Cults are as dangerous as drugs. They commit the highest crime, the rape of the soul. Let me see if I can find that soul cracking. I think I put it in this book. I think it's in here somewhere, where like he lays upon some woman and stares her in the face. You ever heard that whole? Have you read that story?
That's
Oh,
like
here it is.
I have. Oh,
the movie
Oh.
by that director got Camille
Yeah,
the guy
Donald Camel. Yeah.
Campbell. Yeah, that movie where the guy like stabs the girl in the bathtub and he's like making her look in the mirror. And you remember that whole thing? We talked
Very
about it.
well. I remember
Yeah,
very well.
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
What movie is that?
Eye of the Wolf or whatever.
Yeah, it was like the
Predator,
last
yeah.
one that they did. And then he died in a similar way, like looking in a mirror. It was very weird. We talked
He
about
committed suicide by filming himself or something like he
Yeah,
was his
whoa.
own death. Yeah.
Whoa.
Here's the soul cracking ritual, guys. This is like really crazy. This is not if you want to sleep well tonight, you might want to mute this, but Hubbard seemed to practice this esoteric soul cracking practice. Heidi Forrester, not her real name, ex-Sea Org, made the following statement, quote, in late 1975, I was told to report to the Hubbard Communications Office. The senior officer there at the time informed me that I was to report to the Five-Field Manor and go to the 7th floor. She gave me no other information. I did this without knowing why I was going. At the manor, I was directed to the elevator and went to the 7th floor. The entire floor was elaborately furnished to the point of suffocation. An SO member appeared and showed me to a door that was partly open. I went into a very large living room with heavy curtains, tile carpet, overstuffed chairs, and clean to the point of obsession. Sitting on one of the chairs, drinking what looked like sherry, was a heavy-set older man. He had reddish-gray hair, slightly long in the back. He was wearing a white shirt, black pants, black tie, and black shoes, highly polished. He didn't say a word and slowly got up, motioned to me to follow him into the next room. I didn't know if it was Hubbard and wondered if I was to have either an auditing session or an interview. I followed him. I found myself in a lavish bedroom. This still didn't worry me, as sometimes interviews and sessions were held in bedrooms at the Hollywood Inn for staff. There was a small table set up with an e-meter, that's like an electrogalvanometer, on it, and I thought about a session. Without a word, he suddenly began to undress me. I was repelled by him. I did not want to sleep with him, yet I felt really chilled and cold to the bone at that moment. I acutely sensed real fear and danger in the room. In an instant, I realized the calculated power coming from this person. If I resisted, I knew my punishment would be extreme. His eyes were so blank, no emotion, no interaction, nothing was there. I made the decision not to resist no matter what happened. I realized it would be a bad mistake for me to do so. He seemed to be completely divorced from reality. He was so strange that I realized if I provoked him, he could be extremely dangerous. I let him undress me without resisting. I was totally unprepared for what happened next. He lay on top of me. As far as I could tell, he had no erection. However, using his hand in some way, he managed to get his penis inside me. And for the next hour, he did absolutely nothing at all. I mean, nothing. After the first 25 minutes, I became about as frightened as I'd ever been in my life. I felt as if some perverse way he was telling me he hated me as a female. I then began to feel that my mind was being ripped away from me by force. This was the worst of all. I really felt he coveted an aspect of my personality and he wanted it. This was weird, total control on a level I could not fathom at that time. I had no idea what was happening. After half an hour, I really thought I was going crazy. I couldn't move my body from underneath him, and I could feel he still had no erection. He wouldn't look at me, but instead kept his head averted to the side and just gazed into space. I had to discipline myself to keep from screaming because I felt I was having a nervous breakdown. Then I got the terrible thought that he was dead. He was hardly breathing. Then I thought he would kill me too. My thoughts became very morbid. After an hour, he got up and walked out. I just lay there for 10 minutes. Then mechanically, I got dressed. Instantly after that, I began crying hysterically. I cried and cried and cried. I wasn't afraid of becoming pregnant. I was so afraid of whatever had been going on in this man's head. Finally, when I couldn't cry anymore, I went downstairs and took a bus back to ASHO. I didn't say a word to anyone.
Scary.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
That reminds me of some information that I learned from the book Cult and Occult. It was edited by Brooke Smith, and that one describes how the the priests of old, and they would like lay with women in the same bed as them. Even Gandhi would like lay with young, beautiful women and sleep with them.
He had
According
he had two 13 or 12, 13 naked virgins sleep with him every night,
yeah,
naked, to just to maintain his willpower.
to get well, I mean, supposedly to like raise his chi or whatever, the energy of like the vitality energy, and there were like kings that used to sleep with children and stuff, just like hold them against their chest and like just to get their energy. It's very weird, but I don't know if maybe it's related to that.
I don't know.
It's some weird stuff. Like you start learning
have
the
you-
occult and like what people did, and like there's a lot of weirdos.
Well, the thing is that there's one thing to get energy, right? The other thing is the soul cracking, right? And that's that H.P. Lovecraft thing I read. It talks about the sparks, right? That's like the kilowatt. These are like these energies, right? And extracting the soul essence of the person, so there's something gone from them, right?
Yeah, they
Maybe
turn
it can be
into a
retrieved.
husk. Right?
Yeah, and
Broken
that's
shell.
I think I hate to say it, but I mean, look around you, man. It seems like a lot of people are like that. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just too weird.
You're
But
glass half empty kind of guy, I guess.
Back to the document. Milton
All right.
Erickson pops up again. So we've got Erickson and Estabrooks basically in the same group on big time kind of writings at the FBI, like under Hoover. And they go through Estabrooks' kind of background here. One of the interesting things I found out about Estabrooks is that he was interested in schizophrenia, and then his first wife becomes schizophrenic and goes into the mental institution, and he next marries a woman 20 years.
oh, that's
younger than him.
Erickson. You mean Erickson?
Yeah. Oh, did I say something wrong?
What
Yeah,
a
you said
gentleman.
Estabrooks.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
yeah. Milton Erickson. Yeah, he literally he's got his old fuddy-duddy whatever, nice wife, and she goes mad, and he marries, his college, college junior or college freshman, like the young, blonde or whatever. And it's like not suspicious here,
Yeah, really not suspicious. Talk about operational application.
Wife has gone mad. Oops.
Yeah, oops, too bad. Just walk her away, and
I'm studying. Isn't it what a coincidence? I'm studying schizophrenic induction, and my wife becomes schizophrenic. Wow.
Yes, here it is. It's right here. Dr. Milton H. Erickson is a physician assigned to the staff at Eloise Hospital and is conducting research in the development of schizophrenia, which is a technical name for dementia praecox. He has all these degrees. He went east. He was assistant physician. He became associated with the Eloise Hospital in 1934 and is on the staff and is in charge of research in schizophrenia. Dr. Gruber advised that he has observed Dr. Erickson hypnotize many individuals and seen him conduct experiments when the victims were under hypnosis. It is his opinion that Dr. Erickson is one of the best individuals who can produce hypnosis and secure information from these individuals after having worked on them for a considerable length of time so that he can ascertain their mental processes. Dr. Gruber advised that Dr. Erickson has on several instances worked with sexual perverts, with persons suffering from dementia praecox, with one or two persons who have committed misdemeanors, and while under the influence of hypnosis, he has seen them react favorably to suggestions that would correct their evil and criminal tendencies. Gruber stated, however, that it's necessary for Dr. Erickson to spend at least 3 or 4 months with a patient before his unconscious reflexes respond favorably to the suggestions offered. He's written many papers, and there's papers of Erickson involved in this, which kind of emulate or rhyme with some of the papers that are in the film and book, The Manchurian Candidate. Gruber stated that Dr. Erickson is about 38 years of age and that he's married to his second wife, who is considerably younger than he is, and that his first wife, by whom he had 3 children, was adjudged insane several years ago.
Those poor kids.
Yeah. The skill he used in inducing hypnosis and the scientific principles used by Dr. Erickson in securing evidences of past activities from victims under hypnosis. Dr. Sealing, who's in charge of the psychopathic clinic of Recorder's Court, Detroit, Michigan, and John Larson both verified information regarding the education and qualifications of Erickson. Dr. Larson indicated that because anyone associated with hypnosis has a dangerous tool and weapon at his command, he is necessarily subjected to much rumor and gossip concerning violations of medical ethics and practices and of immoral actions.
Right before you go to the next paragraph. So again, these are government documents, right? So very clearly he's, his wife was a judge insane. And this next paragraph, you don't mind I read this?
Yeah,
Dr. Selling, while admitting that Dr. Erickson was well grounded in hypnosis and psychopathic work, he still felt that Dr. Erickson was slightly demented so far as his activities along hypnosis are concerned. Slightly demented, rumor, gossip, medical, immoral actions. It's right there, right? I mean, I would say, is it? Anyways,
they're starting to figure it out. It's really crazy. I watched Frankenstein on Netflix, and it's kind of has those things. It actually overlapped a lot with Blade Runner, believe it or not, because it's about man creating a god. Or
it was a good movie though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. A lot more philosophical stuff than I would have thought. And I think the original book by Shelley is more philosophical. Like they turned it into a monster movie, but I don't think that was her real gist, was to create like this, Frankenstein's monster. But like the fact that this is something that is self-aware and is hunting the creator, much like I think the character's name in was it Batty or something? Roy Batty was the character in Blade Runner who like wanted to find his creator and get more life, right? So he like hunts him down and tracks him down and eventually kills him. And that's kind of like what's going on with the Frankenstein. But I think that it's kind of like these guys are mad doctors, Frankenstein and the guy who created what did they call? They had a name for him in Blade Runner. What did they call the fake robots, the aliens?
Replicants?
Replicants,
jobs.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Skin jobs too. They call them skin jobs too.
Yeah.
Like that's what the cop says, skin job. Yeah. But there's something about this where like you're creating a dangerous tool and a weapon, right? Like that's what Frankenstein did, and that's what these guys probably at some point it twists, and that just goes back to Dr. Yen Lo from the very beginning of the Manchurian Candidate stuff, where he's like, you have a weapon. Right. And then this reflects all the hard work that he's doing. This is 37, guys. These are the papers here. There are enclosed herewith the following papers in pamphlet form, which were prepared by Dr. Milton H. Erickson for publication. 1. Opportunities for psychological research in mental hospitals. A brief survey of hypnotism. A clinical note on word association test. The concomitants of organic and psychological changes during marked improvement in schizophrenia. We'll just invert that. They can just make it worse. A study of experimental neuroses hypnotically induced in a case of ejaculatio praecox. Development. Yeah, so like they're literally injecting neuroses.
Experimental neuroses, right? Yeah. Hypnotically induced. I mean, that's, and I don't even know what ejaculatory praecox is, but it sounds
premature ejaculation.
Okay, but no, he's making experimental neuroses hypnotically induced. So someone is coming in there because they're jumping the gun.
Yeah.
They start running before they start.
Overly excitable.
And then he induces neuroses. So not only you're not cured, but now you're fucking nuts. Thanks, Dr. Erickson.
Yeah. You're looking away now. Yeah.
The development of apparent unconsciousness during hypnotic reliving of a traumatic experience. A study of hypnotic deafness by means of a conditioned response. So like inducing deafness by a conditioned response. J. Newman, special agent in charge.
I just that last one, the development of apparent unconsciousness during hypnotic reliving of a traumatic experience. That's huge for SRA. Like they have the trauma that comes before they're 7 is in their memory, and that comes up again later. At certain times they can trigger the memory to be brought up, and then they are reliving it and then they have even their body abreacts and it has like it feels the pain again. So that is a huge piece of the trauma that the victims of SRA have to endure. It's right there on paper.
State that, you know, in this language, right? So this paragraph, Dr. Larson indicated that because anyone associated with hypnosis, which means Dr. Erickson, right? They're obviously referring to Dr. Erickson directly, has a dangerous tool and weapon at his command. So this is not abstract. Same paragraph. This is considered writing. This is, you know what I mean? Don't think this is like a tweet or it's not Trump, you know, doing a couple lines of coke, you know, with Bubba in the bathroom.
Right. But the follow-on sentence is interesting too. Like it's like he is necessarily subjected. So it's not he's subjected. It's necessary to subject him to rumor and gossip concerning violations of medical ethics and practice and immoral actions. So in my interpretation of that, Larson is saying the rumors should be there that Erickson's doing sketchy stuff, right? Don't you guys take it like that?
He does have dementia. He's demented.
No, I mean slightly demented. So
right,
in case you didn't catch that reference, this guy's a mad scientist. Right. This guy's unethical. This guy made his wife fucking go nuts and married his secretary, or married his like his 18-year-old student or something. You know, considerably younger means what? It means probably 18, 19 years old. Sure, at that time.
Grooming. That's what it means. Yeah.
So that's pretty intense, actually.
Let's see if we can get. I mean, this guy's bio is really something else. Like, he's as interesting as Estabrook.
Shit,
real ethical right here, guy. Like, yeah.
At least in 1922.
At least he only made his wife crazy instead of what William Burroughs did with his wife.
Yeah, he shot her in the head, right?
Yeah. Right.
Accident. Whoops.
He didn't mean to. We're just playing William Tell.
Yeah, right. Oh, just let him out of jail. That's cool. He works for us. Yeah. Anyway, so.
I mean, all these techniques, while Erickson explored a vast arena of induction methodologies and techniques of suggestions, there are certain areas where his name is known as a key in the development or popularity of the approaches. He used direct and indirect approaches, though he's most known for his indirect and permissive suggestion techniques.
Artfully vague, it said. The
handshake induction.
Where's that?
I think you just went by that. I saw that. So he has many confusion technique. In all my techniques, almost all there is a confusion. Handshake induction. Look at this. One handshake, he was a master. I mean, maybe in 1937 he wasn't doing it, but by the time NLP came around, he could just about anybody. You start having a conversation, you're in a hypnotic trance. He can put in post-hypnotic.
But you've seen that if you've watched those like videos of the hypnotist, stage hypnotist. He's always shaking people's hands. You ever notice that?
Oh yeah.
And I think he's doing the Ericksonian stuff.
That makes sense.
Like, give me your hand. Initiation. When I begin by shaking hands, I do so normally. The hypnotic touch then begins when I let loose. The letting loose becomes transformed from a firm grip into a gentle touch by the thumb, a lingering drawing away of the little finger, a faint brushing of the subject's hand with the middle finger, just enough vague sensation to attract the attention. As the subject gives attention to the touch of your thumb, you shift to a touch with your little finger. As your subject's attention follows that, you shift to a touch with your middle finger and then again to the thumb. Wow.
Just like the finger thing, the tall teeth monster guy was telling Hans to say while he was walking and telling himself that he was a powerful guy, like touching fingers, that.
Oh, I never did that, by the way.
Okay. Okay, we'll deny it today. Okay, that never happened.
Every day and every way, I'm losing more and more weight. Yes,
because I'm good enough and I'm smart enough.
I mean, this guy has a huge
shocks and ordeals. Do you see that? Shocks and ordeals.
There is shock therapy. He was prepared to use psychological shocks and ordeals in order to achieve given results.
Wow. This
Wow.
is so that's what 9/11 was, right? I mean, that's shocking.
Shock, yeah, psychological shock.
And so I mean that PowerPoint we went through, right? It was okay, but they really whitewashed Erickson in that. That's what I was kind of calling attention to, right? I mean, this guy is, you know, even more so than Esther Brooks, whatever. Esther Brooks and Erickson was really a powerhouse of technical apparatus. So extending, like you see that the original ordeal process is different from other therapeutic techniques. Extending the dissociative effects of paradox and non sequitur, wherein confusion is used only as an entry to trance states. The technique of ordeal superimposes a distressing but achievable challenge over the therapeutic aim, such as achievement of okay, whatever. But
Isn't that reminds me of that whole COVID situation we had. I mean, like, wasn't that like a shock and then an induction of trance state and
fear,
right?
whatever. I mean, they always go to the fear of death. Like, that's it. Like, you're going to die. Like 9/11, you're going to get killed by a terrorist. You better do this, right? Death is right. Bin Laden's going to jump her out of that bush and stab you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so COVID's right there. Could be on the countertop, guys. Could be in that cough or touching hands.
Right. You could get AIDS from a cereal box, right? What Fauci was saying all those years ago.
Dude, he's like he's more of a behavioral psychologist than he is a real medical doctor. That's what you realize. Is like, whoa, he's like one of these guys.
Yeah.
He's like freaking Esther Brooks under the guise of a medical doctor.
Right.
He's right. That's what
doing injections.
Well, look at this influences. So his strong influence on diverse areas of strategic therapy, family systems, brief therapy, ordeal therapy. Sorry, you covered that up. Sorry.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Ordeal therapy, narrative therapy, and neurolinguistic programming. Wait, these are entire psychological regimes, systems, approaches. So he's a,
he's a giant.
He's giant.
Influenced this guy. Here's the guy who's like the editor-in-chief currently of the American Journal of Clinical Hypnosis for 20 years. Stephen Ellington. Where's this guy? Somebody has to watch out for this dude. He's in Phoenix, Arizona. Scary.
Look at his picture too. I mean,
I wonder if there's a better picture of Erickson. Let me see.
Levitation.
Creative choice. This is him when he was younger, but
it looks like Manly Hall from the
my
side
voice will go with you. I don't think I want his voice close to me.
Dude.
Sidney Rosen. Ugh. This is scary. Phoenix. That's occultic.
Right. And my voice going with you is very occultic too. I mean, but the Phoenix, of course.
Life reframing and hypnosis.
Life reframing.
Like,
sweet.
I don't know. This is creeping me out, man.
Whoa, look at that.
Where's his first wife?
In a rubber room, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's how scary.
Yeah. Well, he's so famous because he could do that to his wife. Look at what he can do. Oh, great. Give him a job. I mean, look at all Crowley's wives. Like, all of them went crazy.
Oh, here he is. He's in a wheelchair. There's his young wife that he got. Oh, shoot.
Whoops.
There he is right there. Oh, shoot.
It's all right.
I had it somewhere. There she is.
Just pushing him around in a wheelchair. Look at her smile, too.
He's like an old geezer.
He's a handshake. The handshake. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, really.
I don't need to do any complex.
She looks like she's under a trance. Did you see that smile? That was not real. That
may not even be his first wife because she looks like is that a bridal?
No, not.
He may have swapped out his. What if he had 21
in.
years old? So this is another one. Okay, 21 applied laboratory technique. 5 children.
So 23, he has his first marriage, 10 years. It unfortunately does not work. They don't explain that she's in a mental institution. He will have custody of his 3 children, but this failure will leave him with a feeling of inadequacy. Working on couples and families. I'm not saying you put her in the mental institution.
He's a victim.
That's where he ended up. Then 34, So basically, in 33, she goes, it ends, and in 34, he's with Elizabeth Moore, age 21.
But it doesn't state.
Right.
They did say, oh, first marriage of 10 years, which unfortunately doesn't work. Oh, because his wife went mad. He'll have custody of his 2 children, but this failure will leave him with a sense of inadequacy, and he has an innovative desire to working on couples and families. Well, what they're implying that
good for him.
The FBI document is they're implying that he's studying schizophrenia, and then he gets to marry his 21-year-old student intern.
They had, and then they had that whole feminism thing, that women's lib thing, and maybe it's probably part of that, the induction of that, or the jump off.
48, so he leaves for Phoenix, Arizona, looking for a dry climate. He has polio. 1957, American Society of Clinical Hypnosis.
Who else?
There he is. Milton Erickson becomes a source of inspiration for the group Palo Alto.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Bateson, Haley, Weakland, Fish, precursor of systemic. So there's Bateson. That's
Bateson. That's the whole 60s. That's the whole MK Ultra. That's direct MK Ultra. That's the schismogenesis. That's what the group research group or Bateson developed a double bind. That is these working group coming out of World War II, whatever, military, 1965. This is the core of, basically, the advanced model of what we're looking at.
Look at his quote. There's nothing more delicious than sowing flower seeds and not knowing what kind of flowers they would grow.
Delicious. That's probably some Twilight language.
Yeah, doesn't that sound like Twilight? Yeah. This guy's a creep, man.
Yeah, he's talking about something else. That's like, oh, my napkin got your pizza on it, or, my map,
and it's black and white on the floor or something.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
He had amusie, an inability to recognize musical sounds and tunes. Wow, see, I have a theory of why all these people go into psychology is that they're psychologically fucked up. So that's why they're always going into becoming psychologist or whatever, because there's something different about them. This guy's colorblindness and amusie. Poor guy.
Oh, poor guy.
I want you to choose in your past a time when you were a very little girl, and my voice will accompany. This is creepy. My voice will accompany you, and my voice will become that of your parents, that of your neighbors, that of your friends, that of your school friends, that of your playmates. It'll become your overarching voice. I'll be God. No, it's not in this. And I want you to find yourself sitting in a classroom, you little girl who was made happy by something that happened a long time ago that you forgot a long time ago.
He's making her relive the memory. He's inducing the memory reliving. That's what that is. He's like, remember when you were a little? The little is the part of the mind that is broken off from the multiple and stored away because they don't want to have that memory anymore. And he's like, remember that time when that thing happened to you when you were little? Like, oh, okay. I am the voice in your head. Like, whoa, what voices are in my head? The ones that keep all the partitions in line, the ones that keep all my orders straight and make me do what I'm told and stand in line and do, make me a robot. Like,
voice becomes everything, though. Think about that. We talk about inner child, but that whole environment, your parents, your friends, your students, everything. It is like a god, right? So he's creating this environment as a god.
Right. Inside the head.
And look at that picture. He's doing it to that lady, it looks like.
I think that's his wife.
That's the 21-year-old.
Is that Elizabeth Moore?
Yeah, it's his wife.
That's a Saturday night right there.
Maybe that's how she became his wife. Like, she was his student. He's like doing this stuff.
Right.
And he had some really devious plan to replace his first wife and put her in a loony bin and then run off with the 21-year-old. I'm this pure speculation, but
right. It's your opinion.
Well, slightly demented. The FBI document, I think, is that that's pretty
That's a huge tell, don't you think? Yeah.
They
Oh
know
yeah.
who's demented too. It takes one to know one. Those guys, they're all a big club. We ain't in it.
Wow, document is really incredible. These are people who knew him at the beginning. He's born in 1901, so this is 37. So he's 36, 37. He has a lot more work to do, a lot more seeds to plant, right? It's so delicious to plant a seed. And I mean, all
Well,
this stuff.
well, you got the whole.
Bateson.
I mean, that's the LSD testing, right? The Veterans Hospital. This is the whole Ken Kesey, the Bateson's thing, the Palo Alto working group. Again, I cannot stress how important the double bind theory, cognitive dissonance, and the schismogenesis, right? And this is and Bateson, the schismogenesis was supposed to create initially working on society wide, right, type of war propaganda stuff. But then, especially like the Macy conference and stuff, they started working on family groups, close group systems that can be expanded outwards. So that's pretty. I did not. I did not know until I saw this document that Erickson. I knew about NLP. If you want to check out Bandler's self help tapes, man, those are those are pretty interesting, man. You ever like Bandler's straight up? You ever heard Bandler's speeches? I used to have every. It'll blow your mind. I'll try to find something that's not copyrighted.
I'm afraid.
I just wanted to bring up, because you just brought up LSD, Hans. Today, November 16th, is the anniversary, 1937, of the first time LSD was synthesized by Albert Hoffman. 1937, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's all his articles. This is already done in his mid 30s. He's already just putting out articles, much like Jolly and West, just tons of like academic articles. Hypnotic investigation of specific phobic and obsessional behavior, hypnotic regression of adult subjects as tested by intelligence tests. So they're regressing people. That's a form of regression. What we just read what I read about that little girl, right? Going back. It's like, you go back to that time. Now I'm all in your thoughts. I own your entire brain. And tell me what happened. Like, it must be really creepy. Like, the kind of power the hypnotist has over these people.
Right.
The state must be godlike. It must be something like that. Yeah.
The one of with the fractured SRA minds, they have almost all of the time, they have an internal self that is the programmer. It's a mirror reflection. It's the programmer just inside the head, and it does the punishment inside. And so it's like it keeps a programmer doesn't want to have to give instructions constantly. They want to set it and forget it. They want to just give it in the head and have it be inside, and then it's running all the time. That's legit. Like the actual voice is in there. That's what they hear. Like, and it's
right. So there
giving them
becomes the inner
instruction.
voice, just like this
Yes.
commenter said.
Yeah.
Like, so imagine Erickson supplanting your voice or whatever for his own voice as the inner voice. Wow.
What a nightmare. Oh my God.
Well, but one thing you notice one of these articles. I mean, I'd say page, but it's 1934, the Journal of General Psychology. A study of hypnotically induced complexes by means of the Luria technique. That is Luria, the head, even more important actually than Pavlov, right? The Soviet psychologist, right? I have several of his books, and he also did a lot of neuroscience stuff, whatever. But this is induction, hypnotically induced complexes. And Luria worked, so he worked on physiology, neurophysiology, adrenal system. I'm not sure what the Luria hypnotic technique is, but this is, again, because there was a very big push from around mid 1920s in the Soviet Union, right, under Stalin, also for like the psychic spy stuff was going on hardcore in the Soviet Union, right, pre-World War II. And in many secret organizations and groups, as well as like Isaac Luria is like one of the, again, central, almost unknown figure in this whole thing. And so he's using this technique, right, from the USSR,
Good
by
point.
by
So you
Luria.
see the international element of this research, right? I think in the last one we talked about, they mentioned a German study too, right? Remember that. So here they are again. Memorandum, Nathan, additional lie detector tests and things. So they talk about the psychogalvanometer again. Father Summers' equipment is strictly a psychogalvanometer. It's made up of his design by Esterline Angus of Indianapolis, Indiana. Keeler has not altered his old style polygraph, but rather is using a psychogalvanometer, which is separate and distinct from his polygraph. But he uses the psychogalvanometer on some experimental subjects in conjunction with the polygraph. With Keeler, the psychogalvanometer is still strictly experimental, and from my conversation with him in Chicago, I gathered he has not yet mastered its difficulties. On the other hand, Summers in New York is using only the psychogalvanometer and is a strong advocate of it, and maintains that blood pressure and respiration features of the polygraph are of little or no use. So interesting, more technology. We're talking
State,
about
Columbus, Ohio. Do you see that? Equipment used by Higley at the Ohio State University. So they're visiting Columbus, Ohio.
interesting.
So I feel honored.
So, Columbus.
What a
Esther Brooks and Huber. This is another one. Communication section, 1973. In connection with the various conferences had on the general subject of hypnotism and suggestion and its possibilities as applied to criminalistic problems, I have for some time been concerned with the possibility that there is some element of danger in this work, both when applied experimentally to volunteer subjects and possibly when applied to criminal subjects. Duh. I have no tangible information on such possibility. I'm wondering if you might advise me on how dangerous such procedures might be considered, both experimentally and in actual practice. So this is experimental and operational. You undoubtedly realize that the Bureau would have to quite definitely limit its interest in the work if it were considered to be of a dangerous character. So that's from J. Edgar Hoover to Esther Brooks.
It would never do anything dangerous.
Does anybody want to read this one? This is the experiments in hypnosis and the detection of deception. I think I have this one on the list. Anybody want to read it? You're both
Sean,
130 something?
I'm on 123.
123.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last night,
123.
Mr. Quinn, do you want to do it or?
I'll do it. So 123 memo for Mr. Nathan. It's
Experiments in
page
hypnosis.
2, I guess. Here, wait.
I have one. It's on mine. It's on my PDF. It's 123.
Okay.
It's The title
Mark.
is Experiments in Hypnosis and the Detection
I
of
see.
Deception.
Last night, Mr. Quinn,
Right. I see.
Tam, and
Okay.
I, yeah.
Last night, Mr. Quinn Tam and I conducted the first of a planned series of experiments for the purpose of determining, if possible, the value of hypnotism in the detection of deception. Although we have given considerable study to the technique of the application and induction of hypnotism, and Mr. Tam has spent a week on this subject with Dr. Estabrooks, we have not had previous practical experience in inducing hypnotism. The volunteer subject selected was Special Agent Blank of the No. 3 training school, and he proved to be a most ideal subject for the purpose. During the evening, he was rather readily hypnotized on 3 separate occasions. It is not believed that he fully realized he was being hypnotized. The subject was advised that we were conducting experiments in the detection of deception utilizing various psychological phenomena. First, the lie detector was attached to the subject, and several simple test run. Subject showed an unusually well-balanced emotional makeup during the lie detector. At the end of these simple tests, the subject was informed that he was too tense and that it was desired he relax completely. Mr. Tam then instructed him to assume a comfortable position and completely relax, at which time Mr. Tam made numerous verbal suggestions on relaxation and sleep. The subject responded very nicely, and a control test involving the stiffening of the arm was used to determine the extent of the hypnosis. Our experience in this respect is somewhat limited, but we are both of the opinion that he was in a light trance. The subject was then awakened, and he was informed that he had been successful in relaxing to some extent, but that he was still tense, and it was thought he could attain more perfect relaxation. He then volunteered to assume a more comfortable position, and the technique was again applied. On this occasion, I made the verbal suggestions of relaxation, and we thought it desirable to carry the suggestions further than the first time. As a result, the subject went into a deeper trance, and control tests involving the stiff arm test and inability to open the eyelids convinced us that he had gone into a deeper state of hypnotic sleep. The second test was considerably longer, taking about 12 minutes. The subject was again awakened after the control test, at which time he was told that his relaxation efforts had been quite successful, on the occasion that the experiment would be continued, and this time the questions which he was previously asked on the lie detector would be repeated. Again, the subject relaxed, and on this occasion, Mr. Tam applied the technique in the form of verbal suggestions of relaxation. Again, the subject readily went into a hypnotic trance. A simple card test was given to him that he was told to truthfully reply to the questions asked. As each card was presented and described to him, he replied slowly and with inarticulation of the hypnotized. His responses were truthful in all instances. At this time, I was doing the questioning after Mr. Tam had informed the hypnotized subject that I would undertake the interrogation. Following the card test, I asked the subject two personal questions. One, whether he had practiced law at Centerville, Alabama, prior to his employment with the Bureau, to which he responded in the affirmative. And two, whether the compensation received from his law practice at the time had been satisfactory to him, to which he replied in the negative. The subject was then awakened and asked to describe his experiences, which he did in a somewhat hazy fashion, giving rather distinct indications of the least uh, partial amnesia. In the connection, it should be noted that previous experience with the subject during lectures has disclosed that he has an unusually good memory. He was unable to accurately recall, however, about 50% of what transpired during the hypnotic trance. I believe we are indeed fortunate in drawing this subject for the first experiment, inasmuch as he was very susceptible, which made it that much easier for us. At the same time, we fully appreciate that other subjects will not be so easily induced into the state of hypnosis. Further experiments with this subject are also planned, inasmuch as we did not care to go too far with the subject the first evening of this work. He is very willing to continue the work. The most encouraging outcome of this first experiment is the indication that we have received that the use of the lie detector provides a very excellent and tactful approach to the subject of hypnosis. We are pledging our subjects to secrecy at the present so that there won't be undue discussion on these experiments around the Bureau, and we plan to continue them on a conservative basis. You will be kept advised of the progress. Respectfully, EP Coffee.
That's pretty important, right?
Yeah.
So the lie detector is a way to actually induce hypnosis. It is, and whether there's something else going on there, but it's tactful, right? So they're actually there to hypnotize people. Tactful approach. It means that people don't know what you're doing. It's clandestine. It's, and okay, then what is behind Scientology? By the time Scientology came up, I'm wondering if they're getting this technology and knowledge directly from the Bureau or from someone in the Bureau.
Possibly somehow bleeding over into Scientology. I mean, it's such a distance. I think Dianetics was 48, and then Scientology is 1950.
And then what are the cops doing in the interrogation rooms, with the lie detector? They are taught how to interrogate. They're taught what words to use, how to approach the people, and many psychological tricks. And the lie detector is one of their technological devices that helps them get what they want.
Right. Get a preordained outcome. But like that's the whole thing. Like at the very beginning of like the MK Ultra behavioral stuff, they were always looking into interrogation. It's all very important because of the ex-Nazis and guys who came back from the Korean War. So that was like trying to get the facts and what really happened and all that stuff. So
And that was the main purpose in the film and the book Manchurian Candidate, was so that if he was tortured, he would not know and would not be able to tell, because that
Get
memory
amnesia,
is
yeah.
locked away. Yeah.
Just more like correspondence between Estabrooks and Hoover. We undertake and plan experiments in the field. Oh yeah, we were attempting to keep up to date on the general subject matter and keep abreast of the developments of others in the field. It has not yet been possible for the Bureau itself to actually undertake or plan experiments in the field, nor do we contemplate any such actual work this summer.
I know we'll get to this later. A little bit later, it literally says, Mr. Tam, this is about Estabrooks, that he is probably brutal, absolutely without scruples, as far as his research is concerned, and will go to any means to obtain the desired end in the research which he is interested. So they're literally saying, and he's doing things that are we go further on. So he's literally saying Erickson has no scruples. He'll do anything. He's not the happy, grandfatherly benefactor of mankind. I mean, this dude is like basically demonic, right? That's what they're saying. Okay, anyways,
he's Alex DeLarge from, he's like pure perfect psychopath.
Crazy. I mean, he's probably one of those guys you realize he had a lot of power through all this knowledge and maybe applied it in weird places. It sounds like it. I mean, it's just that whole thing of like, your wife is gone, your relationship's over, and then, hey, I got a new 21-year-old wife. Same, but within 12 months, crazy. J. Edgar Hoover, Estabrooks, this is another one. With reference to the possible dangers arising from the use of hypnotism, I do not think there is any doubt that bad effects may result from hypnotism if it is improperly used. On the other hand, I think that the consensus of opinion in the entire field would be that results should only be beneficial when it is employed in the hands of an expert. Frankly, I've never seen anything which I've considered in any way harmful resulting from my own experiments, and feel quite certain that other authorities such as Erickson, McDougall, and Hull would agree with this general statement. I enclose a few rambling remarks which I wish you would file under this general subject. I'm sending a copy of these to Captain John Stapler, since the Navy people seem somewhat interested in Navy intelligence, probably. And he's kind of talking about being around with his wife.
It's totally safe, you guys. Just look at James Holmes and look at, the Nashville shooter and all these other people. Like, who knows, like, how many of these mass shooters, they're okay. Everything's fine. Look at Ted Kaczynski. There's nothing wrong. There's no danger.
They have weird handlers or something weird's going on.
creating a murderer isn't a danger, though, is it? I mean, look at Dave McGowan's book. I mean, that whole freaking book, like, is all those people. It's not dangerous at all. No, it's fine.
Do you know that there's a connection between Salinger to Kaczynski through Murray?
No.
Yeah,
Really?
so I found this out. Is that Salinger's second wife that he married in the 50s was Murray's ex-wife. And Murray's ex-wife, they had done a lot of experiments together. They were kind of like maybe Erickson and his wife. And Murray was like the guy who did the mind of Adolf Hitler. It was called the Langer Report. And then Murray tortures Kaczynski for 3 years. So there's literally, it's a small world.
Wow.
It's an opening thing up of, it opens up the meaning and how strange of a book The Catcher in the Rye is. So that puts Salinger within the kind of orbit or ambit or social grouping of very high level MK ultra behavioral psychologists. And it makes sense. Then you got to ask, how does he know all this stuff in 1951?
But again, this is how, because they're already laying the groundwork.
Yeah.
And even there's some of these guys like the coffee guy, right? Esterbrook's mentor has been doing this since, several decades as well, right? So, so you mind if I read the next
go ahead,
one?
please.
Okay. So this is from, and again, this is less than a year, right? This is basically 1 year we've gotten through the correspondence. So it started in 1936. This is going chop, right? I mean, they're moving forward. It started, fall of 1936, I believe. So maybe off on that, but it's not much time. Anyways, April 9th, 1937. Dear Mr. Hoover, I wonder if you would incorporate the following in your files on the subject of hypnotism. Needless to say, there are many problems which must be considered in the entire subject, but from the practical point of view, I thought the following remarks might be of use. If hypnotism has any practical value for your problems, then it seems to me that perhaps the most important problem centers around the question of its induction. There may be some startling shortcut discovered involving the use of some drug or drugs. This is an interesting possibility which, up to the present, has not given any particular good results. There is also the possibility that the technique in use at the University of Illinois, whereby an animal is placed in a magnetic field, may have some utility, but that is a matter for the future to decide. It seems that probably the most important line of attack, so far as you folks are concerned, is the development of a concealed technique, whereby the operator is able to do his work behind the front of, say, the lie detector or the psychogalvanic reflex. If this could be used in connection with a brief series of tests whose purpose was not evident, then I think it would really have a really effective mode of attack. I think that the concealed technique in question can be fairly easily perfected. As a matter of fact, I feel certain that I could demonstrate it in any hospital or with any group of men with whom I was turned loose. The matter of the preliminary test is not so simply, but might have definite possibilities. May I again stress that the fact that this disguise technique is something which is very practical and very easily demonstrated, and one on which it seems to me considerable use for research could be placed with great value to all concerned. Copy to Captain Stapler.
There it is. The concealed technique can be fairly easily perfected, right? So,
talking about magnetic field induction, right? Frequency, infrasound, ultrasound. So, I mean, this is, you get into these types of frequency research, right? And some of this is probably going through the ONI, naval intelligence, et cetera. But anyways.
guys, we are at the 1 hour 49 minute mark. Well, how much energy you guys have left in the tank?
I don't know. It's Sunday night, and we know that you got to go like You got to go judge your fellow citizens tomorrow, William. I know that you got to go do that.
What it was, the connection to Salinger was that one of Salinger's second wife, Claire Douglas, wrote a biography about Christina Morgan, who was Murray's longtime romantic partner. So his wife wrote a biography about Henry Murray's wife. That's the connection. I gotta read that. Anyway, what were you saying? Say that again one more time.
I was just saying that
we can call it. I think
I was just saying that it's Sunday night, and you got to go do your thing tomorrow, William. So
yeah, you want to wrap it up? Let's go through some of the comments and see if we can find some.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
great stream. Thanks everybody for listening. Where was Jolly West? I find it wild this team visited McNay. Yeah, that is wild. Maybe Cash Patel's blackmailed. Maybe he's a hypnotist. Maybe he is. I don't know. Beautiful assistant son and half. This was all studied scientifically. Right, exactly. That's our whole point. Orfeo, right. That's what we're getting at. That's what this 10-part episode, 10 episodes getting at. We're only 129 in. It's actually kind of the harder stuff is at the beginning, but you just get these are the harder ones to get through right now. But I mean, once we get done, I haven't even looked at this.
We got to read through Erickson's book on of premature ejaculation. That's included.
Inducing. So it's a young man. I skimmed through that. So the poor guy, he has premature ejaculation. Young dude just got married. Well, I'm gonna make you. You're not only gonna have premature ejaculation, but I'm gonna make you insane. Thanks, Milt.
Nice guy.
And that research is included in this report too, so that's great. So
no, he was published by Cambridge University Press.
There you go. Right, exactly. But I mean, it's photocopied in there. But
oh yeah.
Saxon says he would become the inner voice. Yeah, that's what Erickson did. That's really creepy. Like this is creepy stuff. Become your own handler. Yeah, exactly. Sounds similar to computer malware download exploit. Yes, it does. It sure does. It really does. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Stephen Weishaupt, William deserves to have so many more viewers. He does great. Thank you.
That's right.
What you can do to help is share the shows, guys. I don't have any ad budget or anything like that. So if you take this and share it on your social media, I would personally really appreciate it. Thank you. I think they're great shows. I think it's a great series. I think there's a lot of things to unpack and learn. Johnny, the relaxation is just their invitation to have the subject meditate, whereupon the subject's pursuit of higher consciousness is vulnerable and hijacking. To hijacking, yes. They are seizing the subject's active consciousness from the creator like a computer app. Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
That's right.
Yeah, and we'll see if you go further. Erickson, he's like even at a meeting at the luncheon, he hypnotizes his wife to like keep her arms in this super uncomfortable position that most people couldn't keep for more than a few minutes, and he just makes her keep it there. Beyond a normal person could do it, and then brings her out just in front of everybody. So this guy, father of NLP, I think he's central, and just to see his sketchy background. Where this is the FBI, man. These guys are when they're saying like this guy is like out there, man.
It's a great quote. Such a great quote.
What did they call him? What was the word again? Demented. Slightly demented.
Yeah, but he says, I think it was like he also says it's necessary to question these people, right? Didn't he say something like that?
Necessarily unethical and moral. And
anyone associated with hypnosis has a dangerous tool and a weapon at his command. He is necessarily subjected to much rumor and gossip concerning violations of medical ethics and practices and of immoral actions. Wow. Off the charts.
I mean,
why else hypnotize someone if you're not going to do immoral actions?
Right. Well, I mean, they say that you're supposed to hypnotize people to lose weight, stop drinking, stop, smoking or something like that. But
that's what they say.
That's what they say. Castor and Austin Fitz says electromagnetic tools are used for entrainment. Even in corporate gatherings, I'm not surprised.
She's great. Everybody should
Uncle
listen
Ted,
to her.
great stream. Thank you, everybody. Johnny Sumatra, lowering the resonant brain frequency should make the subject more vulnerable. Yeah, you should listen to a podcast called The Resonant State, guys.
Yeah, check it
Yeah.
out.
It's right
Actually,
there.
just to,
Just
correct that.
don't show up at Hans's house.
No, that's okay. Stalker fans, please give me some more, man. I need more.
Just bring
My wife,
money.
she's like, who's that? Oh, you have any more? No, they're asking me for money, man. It's like, come on, dude. It's like you're panhandling from like, what is that? The Charlie Chaplin movie, about the Depression, the bum
the
guy,
tramp,
the tramp. Yeah, you're like panhandling from the tramp. Okay, I'll give you a roti, Indian bread. There you go. But no, I mean this stuff. If you couple this with lower resonance actually in terms of brain, right? One of the big problems is that people have the beta brainwaves are really, you get all active thought, stressed, but everyone's trying to get into an alpha state, right? This kind of dream state. Actually, what's happened is the beta state should be your external awakened consciousness of your environment, immediate experience that is internalized. Your alpha state, imaginary state, is protected externally. So you're experiencing an imaginary, you're not directly experiencing the world around you, and you're ramped up, these ramped up, especially like inner voices. You got Milton Erickson dropping the inner voice. So you're never, so actually what's happening, you have, but the problem is that people relax, but then when relaxing is very important, but it's used as the induction of the hypnotic state by and large. So I have friends that, I'm going to go to a hypnotist. I would say, no way, ever go to a clinical hypnosis. You don't know what you're getting, and be very wary of some of these self-help gurus, except me, because I don't know how to, I can't even hypnotize my dog, right, man.
Maybe that's like the real podcast advertisement. Like, I'm a self-help, but I know nothing about hypnosis. Like, that's
yeah, you can trust me. Yeah.
About hypnosis.
But thank you guys. It's awesome, and I appreciate it. And
same here. Likewise, it is awesome.
Let's see, Sick Twisted People. Those are holy now. Thanks, guys. Eric Show, excellent show. Thanks, Derek. Orfeo, this is a mind-blowing series. Well said. Saxon, another great one. Thanks, fellas. Thank you. And thanks for everybody for listening. We had 180 live listeners. But why don't you guys advertise your shows again?
Okay. Hans first. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a show. It's called The Resonant State. It's on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, Spotify, and some other agglomerated podcasts. And I'm doing some other shows, various things, some more philosophically based, etc. Of course, doing this. So please check it out. Please support my show so I can keep doing it. And I don't have to lock my wife in a trunk and, gag her so she doesn't yell at me.
Wife mute.
Why? This is my $1 billion invention. Wife mute. And you see tropical rainforest, dolphin songs.
The more money that shows up, the more she mute.
No, I'm just kidding. I love my wife, and she could. That was, oh my. But no, please support the show just so I can keep doing it. And there we go.
We can't see Hans. He's right. Oh, where is
God
he?
bless
Why
her.
can't you
I
see
hope
him?
she's listening.
Oh, it's because I have these comments up, guys. That's why I can't see him. There he is.
Yeah, let's hope she wasn't listening.
It's okay.
Sean, and yours is Wake the Dead, and you guys both have stuff that's different. So you have other guests, and I know you guys do shows together and things like that. So there's other content there.
Right. Yeah, Hans and I are friends. We've done a lot of shows, just like you and I have done a lot of shows, William. Wake the Dead, I talk about other things too. I did a show with my good friend James Cordner about voluntary parenting. I've spoken with Max Lowen recently about this mind control stuff, and spoken with Julia from Cosmic Peach recently, talking about John Benet Ramsey and her experience in the birthing situation that she had there. We recorded a show there too. So I kind of our show, Wake the Dead, or my show, Wake the Dead. We look at, the experience of being a human, having mind, understanding our reality, all of that. And it goes to demon realms and into the politics sometimes, and where I'm an anarchist, and I'll stay true to my principles, and I have done, and you can come and see that if you click. So yeah, there, Wake the Dead is there on Odyssey, BitChute, YouTube, uh, Rumble, and Spotify, and all those things. And there's a donate page. My main website, I guess, where you can see everything is onegreatworknetwork.com/Sean-McCann. It's not my website, but I have a portion on there that's mine, and so you can find me there and all my stuff.
And Hans, you have your own website, right?
Yes, I have my website, hansutter.com, and I'm also, I believe my page is now up and running. I just have to start uploading shows on the Run Great Work Network. And briefly, yes. So I am looking into, there's a pretty complex, it's entirely new system that just check out the show. You can see it. It's some of the stuff I sort of hit tail end with William, but I got some of these guys that are part of this called Conception of Social Safety, which is really mind blowing. It's a full integration incorporating, if all of this research is used in a positive way, right? How to liberate humanity.
Wow.
Right. And not, because so much has been misinformed, has been occulted. So much of the language we know what I mean? We've lost our way in terms of language. If your language doesn't make sense, what are you going to do? So it's not, of course, all doom and gloom. We're trying to find, as you're doing, John, right? Find how to reintegrate and how to move away from this particular system, which is reaching its apotheosis. It's reaching sort of the end game stage and a variety of levels, including, do you want to be floating around in like Jerry Garcia talked about in 1992, you're going to be there, wearing your little bodysuit, making up your own language in your head, having imaginary sex and becoming a guitar virtuoso. He's like, you never even have to practice. You're just in virtuality. You can play in front of huge crowds, literally. And then you'll never have to have physical sex. You could just, just sit there at home. I mean, and this is 92, right? And obviously the whole digital age is connected with this complete disembodiment, total derealization, complete state of schismogenic control. And in a sense, we want to remove the handler that's been installed in your own mind. And even no matter what extent it's operating, this is the agenda. So, and of course, William, you're a great, productive author and podcaster. So please say about your show and everything.
Just been busy, a lot of shows. William Ramsey Investigates. I got 3 YouTube channels back. If you're listening to this, I don't know if you're listening to this on Spreaker or Spotify, but these streams are doing really well. A lot of people are watching them. So I've got a lot of stuff on YouTube now, and 5 books on Amazon. Patreon is kind of active these days, so if you want to talk to me, a lot of stuff I post there. I got a lot of old West Memphis 3 stuff I'm posting there. But I've been busy. This is one of them. I'll give you guys a taste of what's happening if we make it to an episode 11. This document's incredible because Erickson, this kind of sinister figure, when placed in this deep state of hypnosis resembling very greatly an intense trance, Dr. Erickson proceeds with a type of experiment which he calls the personalization, and changes the boy's personality from the individual who he actually is to a fictitious character whom he calls Johnny Walker.
Wow.
It really changes his personality, guys. This is dangerous. That's what Hans is just talking about. So, get the handler out of your brain and avoid becoming a Grockian clown, I guess is a way to put it. If you've listened to this series, you know what that term means. I'm gonna promote that concept into everybody's brain now. This condensed concept of a Grockian clown. That's really my objective of my mind, is to hypnotize people to understand that concept, because you'll stop calling people normies, man. You'll be like, oh, yeah, you're just repeating.
Do you have any?
There's so many people out there with conditioned response. You talked about zombies out there, but like automatic conditioned response to things that are uncomfortable. They'll just immediately go racism or you're sexist, transphobe, all this other stuff that like goes over rational thought. That's what people call it, like name calling. it's maybe even worse than this name calling. It's just like a conditioned response they've programmed into your brain through thousands and thousands of messages. Anyway,
Can you just show a picture of the actual grok, if you don't mind? Can you just, I brought one up.
did we find one? Did we find grok?
I've got a bunch of, just search grok
Okay,
the
let me-
clown.
let me
There's
talk
tons
to
of
him.
them, man. There's he's grok. Oh my god, he really looks demonic though, man.
But the real Grok was like a
No, this is a real the actual
fancy
grok.
gymnast. He was not broken, beaten. Like that's what we talked about that in like the first episode.
Yeah, but just look at his face. So I think this is
Oh, okay.
definitely.
Is this the guy? Oops. Grok.
Whoa,
Is this the dude?
Wait, let me find that.
Grok in his dressing room, 52. 52 seems.
There's
kinda
Clowns
a-
are scary, man. Clowns are
There's typically just black and white. If you just put grok the clown, that you can go down. There's like
I don't know which one. There's a lot of different ones. Is this him?
I
I
think
think he's French, right? So
those are all Les Grok. Yeah,
That's the one. Yeah.
there he is. They broke his arms and legs or whatever, right? There. This is him with
But
like
it's not. But not in real
legs on
life.
legs. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But-
But that's the idea. That's the trauma-based clown.
Yeah.
Wear your clown shoes. You trauma robot. Like,
he's definitely a
He's
little creepy.
vaguely looks like the creature from It.
yeah,
He does.
it's true. Wow.
Just a little bit like a brotherly resemblance. All right, guys. Till next
All right,
time.
all right.
Thank you.
Later.
Thanks,
Take it
everybody.
easy.
Thank
Yep.
you, William.
Peace,
Thank
peace,
you.
peace.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, stay there.